Time for sports, time for Dave Day here on Community NEPA News. But hey, this is not Dave. Always happy to have our John Eric Poli from SSP TV with us. And John, I'm happy to have you today because you were covering the Tamaqua Blue Raiders on Friday night in the state 3A football semifinals. What a year they had. But I want to go, they lost in this game to Wyoming area 21-0. John has a full story this week on SSP TV News, an in-depth look at the game and also at Tamaqua season a little bit as he talked with head coach Sam Bonner. And John, from this game, he said Tamaqua had the opportunities. You know, they moved the football. What really stood out in this game? Your second time seeing Wyoming area this season, first time seeing Tamaqua.
Yeah, well, first off, Wyoming area does have a really good team. And I thought coming into the game, both teams I thought were starting to pass the ball a lot more, establishing passing games. It wasn't all just that ground and pound. And I was expecting that both teams were going to put on a great performance. And it really was that way. The 21-0 score does not reflect the actual game itself. I mean, Tamaqua only punted the ball once the whole entire game. But, I mean, they couldn't punch the ball in the end zone. I mean, 5 interceptions, 2 of which were in the end zone. Another one was when they were going in for a score as well. So, I mean, 3 costly turnovers. Yeah, you can't do that in a state semifinal, expect to win a game. But, I mean, great season for Tamaqua. And congrats to the Wyoming area going to the state championship game, representing District 2. Dallas won as well. So, yeah. District 2 has 2 teams in the state final. So, it's a good showing for Wyoming Valley Conference and for our area.
Yeah, and we'll get more in Wyoming area in just a moment. But first, here's what Sam Bonner had to say after the game to John.
And when you look back on things, this is obviously the best team that Tamaqua's ever had. What does that say about you and say about the kids in your team that you guys put together such an incredible year?
It says a lot. It says a lot about my coaching staff. It says a lot about the kids. Like I said, the run that we had, winning 12 games, most ever before that was 10. I said these guys, like I said, great bunch of kids. I'm going to miss these seniors. It's incredible what they did this year.
And talk about some of the players too, like Nate Boyle, Braden. I mean, you guys had such great players all year long, and they were great for the program.
Yeah, all those guys. I said, you can't name enough of them. Nate, Matty Kistner, Nate Boyle, Braden Nobla, Bronson Strauss, Jared Reed, Sean Levine. I mean, there's just tons of guys that have really done well for us, and these guys have been playing together since they're young. They're upset now. It's tough. It's like the end of kind of like an era for Tamaqua football as far as having these guys around, and for them playing together as on a team. Nothing beats Friday night high school football, and I think these guys realize it and really appreciate it over the last 4 or 5 weeks.
I'm just listing some of the talent on that Tamaqua team, and there is a lot of it. Nate Boyle, I was doing a story on him being a running back, but then he lined up at quarterback, and I think he was at a few other positions. I think I got him at every position but running back for the story that I was doing. He was very versatile. And recently in the Standard Speaker, they had a feature on Matt Kistler, who was kind of the same way, played a lot of positions for Tamaqua. And Braden Knobloch at quarterback seems like he's been passing it all over for Tamaqua recently.
I mean, yeah, they were solid all over. I mean, Braden Knobloch has a cannon for an arm. He's rifling the ball over the middle of the field, and all playmakers all around. I think their longest play, actually, Boyle lined up at quarterback, got the direct snap, ran to the outside, and joke's on you guys, stops, throws it across the field to Knobloch, who's standing there wide open. He runs up the field then for a big gain. I think that was their longest play of the game. But yeah, I mean, they had a lot of great skilled guys. They were right there. Like I said, they were right in the game, and they 110% deserve to be in that situation in the state semifinals.
Well, let's get to college football now. Penn State and Notre Dame finished with identical 10-2 seasons. End of the year, though, as a Notre Dame fan, as a sports reporter, you are blank with Notre Dame season. Happy? I mean,
yeah. I mean, how could you be upset with you're 10-2, and one big thing too that no one's talking about with Notre Dame is they haven't lost a home game now in 2 years. Last year, perfect 12-0 record that would lose to Clemson in the Final Four. This year, both losses came on the road. So, I mean, you're now established where your Notre Dame Stadium is now. You do not want to come into Notre Dame Stadium. I mean, 2 losses in 2 years. I mean, so you average 11 wins a year the last 2 years. How could you really can't complain? Yeah. I mean, sure, I know everyone's upset that Michigan lost the way how they did not show up, but I mean, it's football. It happens.
And sometimes we look at everything with such a microscope, and you think, not that it's easy, but you think you just play this game with stats and numbers, and you really don't. You're playing them with humans and emotions. And same thing with Penn State, John. I mean, Penn State fans should be thrilled with a 10-win season. I think the majority of them are, but there's still some people because I think when you get those expectations of Penn State's number 4 in the first college football playoff rankings, and then you drop a close game to Minnesota, people are disappointed. I'll tell you what, the only reason I'm still disappointed about the Minnesota loss was Penn State kind of controlled their own destiny there. You win that one, and you're definitely probably locked into Pasadena, definitely a New Year's Six game. They still might get that very, very big bowl game, but I was impressed with the Nittany Lions. Let's move on to John's wheelhouse, really. Conor McGregor back in the UFC, getting ready for his fight.
He last fought in October of 2018 against Khabib Nurmagomedov, lost the lightweight championship. by a 4th-round submission there. And he wants that fight. He wants a rematch with Khabib, but Khabib's not going to give it to him. And quite frankly, he doesn't deserve a rematch with him just yet. So he's going to come back. He's going to fight Donald Cowboy Cerrone. He's going to headline UFC 246 on January 18th in Las Vegas. Interesting, the fight's at 170 pounds. Everyone thought this fight was going to be at lightweight. There hasn't been an exact reason given out yet as to why the fight's at 170 pounds. There hasn't been a press conference or anything like that.
John, very busy, always here, so I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. I'm Ken Kerr, and this has been another Dave Day on Community NEPA News.